Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, citizens, residents, visitors, and welcome back to the Cravenstown streaming complex on this Sunday, the 2nd of June, 2019. And if it is your first time here, a very warm welcome to the Krayven channel. Whether you are a regular or a newcomer, a chatter or a lurker, a welcome. Welcome, and thank you for being here for Story Sunday. And good evening, yes, resident effects. No worries, it is the typical thing at the end of the month for a few flags to have magically disappeared into the ether. But there's no worries if you feel ever so obligated or ever so inclined to keep yours going. Fantastic. Or if you're here regularly enough, you never know, you might pick up a new gifted visa. So what's been going on? I've actually got, breaking with tradition, my usual tradition of ad-libbing absolutely everything that I do. Sorry if the frame rate's dropping ever so slightly, as you already know with Story Sunday. Hey, Citizen Sandtrooper's in the house. How you doing, mate? Welcome. For part 2, I have Pillars 2 running in the background because it's such a slow game to load. It's fine once it's up, but it takes like 4 or 5 minutes. So if anything seems slightly choppy here and there, that's why. So what's been going on? Well, quite a few things to get through, some of which I will recover at the start of the next week. That is a bit louder than I expected. The ever so unpredictable volume of background music, maintaining 100% record, except it would be if I remember to turn it on every time I do the warm-up, which I don't. Yes, so first and foremost, St. Jude Play Live campaign is now over. Not your fault, a little imp stole your flag. I was patrolling the guard tower of Cravenstown, little bugger. Yes, you do have to watch out for those Cravenstown imps. They were an early proto form of a town servant and constructor unit, much like in Dungeon Keeper using imps, until I realised that Craybots were a lot more efficient, didn't require any pay, and didn't die if you beat them too much. So I switched over to them, and imps have since then gone a little bit feral. And yeah, they do like to go after flags. Every so often I think they're trying to strike up a little rebellion, so I send the warbots out, the enforcers out for a bit of practice, and they breed. You think rabbits breed fast, imps breed faster, Cravenstown imps, don't get me started. Hey, hoi, Darkins, have you met my friend Darkins? Citizen Darkins, how you doing? Welcome on in. So, yes, first of all, first item, look at this shit, look how prepared I am. I've got notes for a warm-up and everything. I've never done this. I think maybe once or twice ever. Maybe I should make a habit of it when I've got enough to merit doing it, and rather than ad-libbing. Also, St. Jude Play Live is, oh good lord. There you go, effects, problem solved. You'll never start your warm-up notes. We're going to make alerts go off. Darkins 10,000, thank you kindly for gifting citizenship to affection. Look at that music change. Look at that perfectly timed music change. Isn't that incredible? Their Cravenstown visa is once again approved, and you, good sir, are amazeballs, gifting your 21st citizenship visa in the channel. Thank you so much. Well, Citizen Effects, you got a new flag. You know, he didn't find your flag. Your old flag is lost to the ether. An imp is eating it and wiping his bum with it, and they shit blue, so it never washes out. It's like ink. But you have a whole new flag, entirely courtesy of Senor Darkins there. And I think, forgive me if I'm remembering wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologise. It might be a new colour for you. I don't recall. It might be your third month. In any case, you are not just legit, you're once again Cravenstown legit. Enjoy the continued reuse of your legit emoji all over Twitch whenever someone says legit, does something legit, or you want to emphasize other emotes with legit. Wave your possibly new, I think it's new, I could be wrong, bronze Cravenstown town flag. At least 3 months you have been a citizen. Bad, it pooped on your old flag. Don't worry, old flag is covered in poop. Fuck that flag. That flag's for knobs. Unless you've recently become a citizen, in which case, thank you so much. You're not a knob. Wave that loud and proud every time you chat. It's going to be our giveaway tomorrow, so perfect timing, and I'll be getting to more details about that, our citizen giveaway. And of course, if you're a gifted received gifted visa, received gifted citizenship, you are still able to enter the giveaway. You will maintain your access to Citizens Towers and the perks therein, the lounge, and more importantly, the treasury, provided your Discord and your Twitch are integrated. The accounts, that is, and last but no means least, my dying appreciation and gratitude not only to Darkens, the Lord, one of the Lords at Krayven Sound, one of the landed gentry, the Earl of Downtown, or I don't know, what would you be the Earl of? I don't know, the petting zoo? No idea, but also effects of being here stream after stream after stream, and look what it nets you. Look what it nets you. Lovely, lovely perks, flags and legit emotes and all kinds of nice things, so thank you so much. Yeah, it's not you're on 4 months. Okay, my mistake. We've had a couple of folks come by who've been newer, been the blue flags, and I was like, I couldn't remember it was 3 or 4. I chased down him, but I had to stop when he ran into Stonecrusher Fiend. Yes, they love to go south, knowing that we can't chase them south without a dedicated hunting party. They won't harass a hunting party, but the feral imps have gone and sort of nested there. They are an important part of the South Badlands ecosystem, feeding the plated dust vipers. The Stonecrusher phoenixes feed off of the plated dust vipers, and the cliff haunter broods like to steal the eggs of the Stonecrusher phoenixes. And I won't tell you who is the king of the Southlands. Speaking of a hunt, look what's gotten started. A double hunt, right then. Well, let's go and we'll probably find a corpse of that imp being slowly digested in the gullet of a plated dust viper, no doubt. Alright, so I will get to this. St. Jude, the final tally. Friday was the last day. I was contemplating doing a Future Past Friday because I haven't done a retro stream in forever. Dedicated retro stream in ages, as opposed to just doing a retro game on one of my other days. But yeah, work and things, I'd already hit my 4 days, and I was just like a bit sort of needing a break. However, we still got in a couple more donations while I was off. A thank you very much to a couple of former colleagues from Digital Domain, where I used to be a consultant project manager. In fact, a number of people, about half our donation amount, maybe actually a little bit over, came from them. A couple of more awesome folks, Tina and Joe, came in with $20 each, putting us on a final tally for St. Jude Play Live of $240, which is fantastic. I'm incredibly grateful, especially those of you in the community, which I think off the top of my head, Piney Druid with a massively generous $100 donation, and OmniShift, who got us started with the $5 that got the ball rolling. Thank you so much to you, and friends and family and co-workers who chipped in as I put the link out and about in my other various elements of social media outside of Twitch and stuff. I had no idea how well we would do. The goal I had was arbitrary and just something to put. Every last dollar really counts. If you didn't already know what St. Jude's is, I'll repeat again. They are a children's charity, children's hospital and charity, helping kids with catastrophic diseases, especially like cancers, namely leukemia, with treatment, with assistance, like kind of research into beating conditions and treating the kids and looking after the families and all that stuff. We won against the Dust Viper. Fantastic. Well, 4 of us is not going to be a problem at all. And all 4 of us, none of us came out injured. Perfect. So all of you who took part in that and threw in something, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It was the very first charity event that we've done on the channel here, as opposed to being on someone else's channel or part of someone's team, which is always awesome and always good fun. But it's a small little milestone. It's a new checkpoint that we've actually been able to raise a not insignificant sum at all, a very respectable sum for our first ever Krayven channel charity event as part of a greater whole. And if you didn't already know, the whole St. Jude Play Live campaign, which is being run and organised by Humble Bundle, if you hadn't seen the announcement from the podium and where else I put it on Twitter, we busted $2 million. When I looked at the campaign on Tiltify itself, the overall campaign was like $2,184,000, something like that, dollars collectively raised across everyone on Twitch who took part in it, for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which is incredible. That is amazing. We were a small but an important part of that. So again, everyone who was here, whether you were just here watching and supporting, sharing the link, but especially if you found it in your heart to donate and you had the means to donate, thank you. Much love indeed for all of that. Next, start times. Now, for the last year and... when are we? It's about a year and a month, actually. Yeah, 13 months. I have been fairly flexible with my start times. I've been a self-employed person. I work for myself. I often work from home, which leads to a rather odd sleep pattern and schedule. At least, well, a lot of us in the gaming world and gaming fans have got rather messed up sleep patterns, but at least I've got a professional excuse for it, so But yeah, in all honesty, I kind of govern my own routine as and when I see fit and don't really answer to too many folks, but I'm trying to tighten down a little bit more on my start times. I was experimenting earlier with wanting to get started, see what it's like getting started at 6. At 6 p.m. UK time. I realise this is a little bit early for me because I'm trying to get out of the habit of eating my dinner really late at night, because what usually happens is I have a late breakfast. I found a piece of bronze coloured cloth, most likely the stolen flag. Yeah, that imp is dead. There's no way it survived 2 steps within the Badlands. It probably didn't. You found a piece of bronze cloth, right? Well, you got that as a patch. If anything happens to your new flag, like, you know, some bullet goes flying through it in some sort of quick little gunfight in the main street of downtown, you can sort it out, no problem. So you're sorted effects. You got spare parts, can't go wrong. Yeah, I was looking into sort of doing a dedicated start time from 6 p.m. UK time, so 7 p.m. European time, and 1 in the afternoon Eastern, and 10 in the morning Pacific time. However, yeah, it was too early for me for eating my evening meal. I'm trying to get out of the habit of eating at sort of midnight, because usually by the time I finish up and I've calmed down after streaming and gone from being in projection mode and being blah, like, hey, doing the show, to just, okay, cool, just, and, you know, get your head out of your head and out of presentation mode to be able to go to bed, and I'm eating my dinner at midnight. That's actually not very good for getting a decent night's sleep, and a little bit unhealthy. So I've opted that I would much rather have my dinner between 6 and 7, and then once I finish, I just go to bed and I'm not digesting food, and I sleep more restfully, and hopefully it'll do a little bit better for getting my sleep pattern to something a little bit, because I always, it's between 2 and 3:30 in the morning I'm actually going to bed, and that's still really unhelpful. Fighter Jet 11, hello, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Dark says, and now he has a patch with the next gunfight happens in about 5 minutes. True, I keep my flag guarded with the guy, yes, with the enforcer. One of the perks of being the gentry. Anyhow, so this, with all that context said and done, from tomorrow, from the start of the streaming week, I sort of see it as Monday, because streaming is fun, but I try and keep it business-like. I try and keep a little bit of it is work, get to work, do your thing attitude to it. I'm going to try and stick with a 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. set sort of time. It's going to be the usual Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I'm very well, thank you for asking, Fighter Jet. I've had a nice weekend, just running through the warm-up now. I'm going to tell you all about that and catch up on the latest news. Welcome on in. If you're not familiar with Story Sunday, I do the warm-up as I do with all my streams, and then we do a little bit of Krayven Reads Reddit community submissions, as people like my reading voice for going through funny stories. And then part 2 is Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, which is taking the narrative element of Story Sunday, but doing it on more narratively rich games, for which I'll do all the lore and the dialogue on the voices and that kind of thing. I hope you have had a spectacularly splendid weekend, and welcome on in. Thank you for discovering the stream, and not only that, popping up and saying hi in the chat. Hello. So give me some fluctuation. It might be 5-10 minutes here or there, as I get used to trying to be a bit more disciplined with start times. Also, hopefully it'll allow you fine folks who are here week after week, stream after stream, to be able to be more like, yeah, I know that Krayven's on at this time, rather than sometimes like you pop up at 8 p.m. and it's actually, I've been going for 2 hours, and then at other times you're sort of waiting around at 6:30 and I don't get started for another hour. It's a show, and we have a set schedule. We've had a really good regular schedule since I started. Real life notwithstanding an occasional day changing, but the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday as the main days is working. So yeah, bear with me if it's still a little bit wonky. I'm not the best doing essentially work or a professional thing at a set time. It's one of the perks of being my own boss and actually running my own business. It just isn't just Twitch. I mean, my actual work and my full-time job, doing it as I see fit. So it's not an especially natural habit and a natural fit for me, but yeah. And I'm going to start trying to do, like you may be familiar with a few other streamers, Mr. Redweird in particular, our good friend and ally, doing little graphics for what the stream schedule is going to look like for the start of the week. And if it needs updating, that will be, hey, Citizen Little Boy Tryhard, welcome on in, coming on in there. It's good to see you. How you doing, mate? Happy Sunday. Yeah, posting that in the stream info terminal, because that channel, though will have useful information, is rather not exactly looked at, and it's a little bit quiet, that part of town, that part of the streaming complex. So yeah, I will have a recurring post that will get put in by me and then removed and updated each week. So there'll only ever be one of what the weekly schedule will be, which ideally will be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. or maybe 11:15 to allow for 15 minutes sort of warm-up time and then 4 hours of direct streaming content. And if I have to do a Wednesday or a Friday or a Saturday due to certain evenings being ruled out by external factors, then I will update that, but I'll have a graphical thing. So yeah, I hope that's something that will help with the consistency of the show, consistency of numbers. We've been having some really nice momentum, especially the last couple of streams. I appreciate that. People showing out more and keeping going. So yeah, next item. I'm loving this. And this, see, look at this organized, look at this prep. Citizens giveaway. If you are a citizen, if you have a lovely, glorious Krayven's town flag next to your name of one of a multitude of rainbow-like colours, you will of course have one of the perks be you can enter our monthly giveaway competition at the first stream of the month. I was thinking of doing that today. However, the end of the month, start of the month, I noticed a bunch, because it happened over the weekend. It was on a Friday and a Saturday from the 31st to the 1st, which are 2 days I don't normally stream. A bunch of subs ran out, a bunch of citizen subs ran out, and I felt it would have been a bit harsh, a little bit unfair to run the competition when a bunch of folks like come back in. They're like, oh shit, I was just about to renew my citizenship, renew my sub, and I already missed the giveaway, and it's only once a month, you know, because I try and do it at the start of the month. So I figured I'll let people know. I'll give everyone at least 24, 48 hours heads up of when the competition is coming, and those who want to renew their subs or just like forgot about it and want to sort of like keep going, they get more of a chance, and hopefully we get more entries and more people who haven't won before getting a chance to win. And Effect says, Krayven, I stopped training kickbox. Well, I was forced to. Our team got taken down due to financial... Oh no! Oh shit! Effects, that sucks. I know you enjoyed that. Are you able to find? Are you going to be looking around for a new club to keep it going? Is there another kickboxing club somewhat locally to you? I hope so. Yes, now next, really cool thing. Those of you who don't already know, June is Pride Month. It is, I think, International Pride Month. So gay pride, trans pride, pansexual, all the LGBTQIA plus pride, equality, rainbows and glory for all is for all of June, and obviously around most of the planet, especially in the free secular world where you are able to without ramifications, that is being celebrated, and no more so than here on and no less so as here on Twitch. Twitch is doing a thing called Megacheer that has started since yesterday. This command, there's one on a timer as well, so from June the 4th to the 30th, earn emotes for yourself and fellow townspeople, I've modified it a bit, with Pride Megacheer. So for every 200 bits that get Megacheered, Twitch will make a donation of 10 cents to the Trevor Project. If you don't know what the Trevor Project is, it is a very worthwhile charity that helps at-risk teens and young people who identify as LGBTQIA, etc., who deal with mental health issues and are at risk for depression, anxiety and suicide and so on. So for some folks in a lot of places, sadly, coming out or identifying as gay or bisexual or lesbian or anything else, however, that is outside of being straight, cisgendered, whatever you want to use, is still really difficult for a depressing number of people, and it shouldn't be. And this charity, the Trevor Project, does a lot of good work in helping reach out to isolated and at-risk LGBTQ youth. So kudos to Twitch for supporting that. And as per usual with Twitch's sort of giveaways, especially cheer-based stuff of this nature, it doesn't impact us, the streamers, the content creators at all in terms of what comes to us. So for example there, if you cheer 200 bits to me or whomever, anyone at all, for example using the Megacheer component, which I think will pop up in much the way special cheers do, like the Bleed Purple or Blizzard of Bits at Christmas, all the ways in which you specifically do a certain thing, you'll get the Megacheer option. So if you do 200 bits, you'll probably get a Megacheer option to do it, and if you use it, and why wouldn't you, Twitch out of their own money will donate to the Trevor Project. It's up to a total of about $150,000. So yeah, if you're one of these people who likes to cheer, likes the alerts, do the things, and you do it in increments of 200, whether you do 200, 400, 1,000, like whatever, please use Megacheer. As not only will you be helping a really good cause, but you'll get unique emotes, and there's a pool of 20, so who knows, maybe collect them all, and if you do increments, you'll be able to get 2, and random one will be given out to someone else completely the community, totally at random, kind of like a community sub thing. Hey, Mr. Game PK, where's the line between art and not art? Like, what time does an empty room with a flickering light go from an empty room with a flickering light to art? Entirely subjectively is the answer to that.
Make it rain!
Darkens, thank you so much. 200 biddies. I hope, as that brought up the triggered thing, thank you for triggering Tiny Tina, our first biddies of the entire month. First biddy blood to you once again, good sir. And I do hope that's automatically or done the thing. And that's the first 10 cents from this channel to the Trevor Project. Thank you so much. And hi, Mr. Gamer PK as well. Art, especially when it comes to gallery art, is probably the most subjective thing on the planet alongside comedy. So I have to admit, when it comes to a flickering bulb in a gallery room, a lot of established prior genuine artwork and also connections and funding go a long way too. And Effect says, I'm going to continue my training by myself just to keep myself fit and ready. The trainer was a bit of a jerk, and instead of staying, he left us. We could have saved the team. Our team is part of the World Association of Kickboxing and Global Club, but our city team just lost money. Too little of it. Oh, okay. Wow. You have a pro branch as well. That's really impressive, Effects. Nice one, dude. But yeah, I hope you're going to continue training by yourself. Yeah, it's a good way to keep yourself fit and obviously capable, able to do self-defense on the street. It's a good thing. But it should an opportunity come up to join another club. I hope you can. So yeah, Megacheer is live. That's really cool. There's that cheer, and obviously Megacheer reminders will be on a timer as well. Last, just what I've been up to. It's been a pretty local weekend. I was away at London last weekend, socialising and doing bits and pieces and things like that. So I opted to, I say try and save a little money. The best laid plans of mice and men are ought to go awry, I think is the quote. I didn't quite end up saving some money, but I saved it on travelling and going from place to place and doing things. Mainly Operation Declutter. Apparently Megacheer isn't a basic cheer. Oh. Darkens, how does it work? How did you figure? That's one thing. That link should have some information there. The one that came with the commands. Let me just see if I can bring it back up. Yes, let me tell you all a little bit more about Megacheer. Yeah, so Pride Megacheer. Sorry, Christ, it's not yet active. That's why. It runs from June the 4th. The date is correct in the text, June the 4th to June 30th, but I think I said from the 1st to the 2nd. That's me buggering up. So what is a gift? Gifts are given randomly to other viewers in the channel when the cheerer initiates a mega cheer. Each gift provides the receiving one of the exclusive emotes. There are a total of 20 exclusive emotes up for grabs during Pride Mega Cheer. Upon receiving a gift, receivers of gifts can quickly thank the cheerer by clicking the thank prompt. Can I get the same emote multiple times? No. Each time you unlock an emote, whether by gift or cheering, you will receive a new exclusive emote you don't already own. If I've received emotes, will I keep them forever? The Pride Mega Cheer The Pride Megacheer emotes will only be available to be earned and used through the month of June, so they're probably going to be quite Pride based, which is good and suitable. And can I use other cheer emotes to start a Megacheer? Yes, any form of cheer is able to start a Megacheer, granted it is above the 200 bits minimum. So it's from the 4th. So from Wednesday, that is active. The alert does say that correctly, but that was me being a bit of a butt. I'm sorry. I misread it. I thought it was just for the whole of June. Okay, apologies, Darkins. We've got another hunt going on! Exclamation mark, hunt in the chat. Yeah, so, a nice little... Why is my... There we go, God, bloody delay there. The 4th is Tuesday. Oh, God, yes, it is. I am completely redundant. Everything, ever. Anyhow... Yes, what did I get up to? There was a ComicCon. I went to the ComicCon. I went to MCM ComicCon in London, one of the big ones. The MCM's a big one that goes around the UK, possibly abroad, I don't know. But it goes around the UK in like 4 different major city locations. However, my little hometown, which is currently where I'm back in my house here and living in Oxfordshire rather than London at the moment. Yeah, I am. I'm going practically senile effects. Damn it, what's going wrong? We have a little Comic-Con now. It's actually, I think it's been running a year or two. Maybe this is the second one. What happened is this guy, he set up a sort of like a shop called Toy Planet, and it does everything. For a while, it even did Games Workshop, hobby, tabletop stuff, but they're very, very strict and very, very gatekeepery about how it works. So we stopped doing that. But literally everything else, so comic books, movie memorabilia, signed stuff, that imagine everything you'd find on any stand anywhere ever at a convention, short of bespoke handmade craftsmanship, is in this one place. It's even like got a retro game section, a rare Lego section, retro consoles. This guy is like so entrepreneurial. He's a local fella called Steve, and he's really nice. He started off in his tiny little back shop in his back alley about 5 years ago in this little arcade. We're a little market town here. It's not a big thing. And he's done so well, and he's been so successful in engaging with the community and connecting and getting things and tapping in. He's now got these really nice premises on the oldest street in town, the Mill Street, which goes down to one of the only 2 functioning mills in England. Anyway, he has been now the organizer of doing a Comic-Con, and it actually in our whole area, this sort of South Midlands home counties area of South Oxfordshire, there's almost nothing servicing that kind of culture, from trading cards, tabletop games, retro video games, all of that. There was just nothing. Forever. There was like one small Games Workshop part of a store in Newbury and a flagship store for the county in Oxford, and there was no Forbidden Planet, there was no anything. So he just had this absolutely untapped market. Oh, good. Maybe I should change my name. Well, it's very readable, so I think if it makes you happy, keep it. And hello to you. Welcome on in. Yeah, he's ended up organising, and the Comic-Con yesterday was pretty good. It was like a mini version, but it had a bit of a tiny version of everything you'd want. So it had a little stall, it had a section for traders, and I got a couple of things there. It had a small meet and greet and a signing. I went along, 10 quid for a ticket. I didn't have to walk like half a mile from my house, and I was right there. It was in the local school area. They had street food set up. There was a fella who was actually, he's an Academy Award winning visual effects. He was the head of special effects on the Star Wars, which one was it? The eighth one, and not Rise of Skywalker is the one that's coming, but the 8th one there. He did Warhorse. He did some other huge movies. I should remember. They're really ridiculously famous. Bup 6, welcome in. It's good to see you again. It has been a short minute. Hello. Oi, drop my blins. I don't know what blins are. It sounds like a much more jolly version of a bin. Well, I hope they didn't spill jolly trash everywhere. But yeah, they had Virginia Hay. If you're sci-fi fans, you remember a show Farscape. She was Zan in Farscape, and I loved, probably one of my favourite sci-fis after Firefly, and so that was really cool. He was long. Had this guy turned up. He lived locally. This special effects head of special effects for that was it. He's the head of special effects for Industrial Light and Magic, which is huge. I mean, I worked in that industry for ages, and that's like, whoa, you know. And he lives in a little village like 3 miles from here, which is mad. So he came along with his Oscar and everything, and he had his 1 hour talk put together. It was really, really good. I don't know, Seed. Hey, Resident Seed Dying, how you doing? Lex is better than Farscape. I've not heard of Lex. What is Lex? Is it a good sci-fi? In which case, plop it in the Crayflix Lounge. In the Crayflix Lounge, put a link to it, because I'm always keen to see more sci-fis. I haven't already. So yeah, he was long. There was Ewan from the original Office, the UK version of The Office. Is a really nice guy. He's been doing some cool cult films on Amazon Prime. And yeah, I was like, wow, there's some people here with some caliber. It's only like 3 or 4 guests, but because it's such a small thing as well, they're doing the signing. The signing costs were really cheap for photos and stuff. And they would chat for ages. I had a 20-minute chat with Virginia Hay, which is like really cool. She's an interesting character, actually. She's talked about a lot of different kind of stuff. Try cheesy as fuck. Okay, Darky. I really like Farscape. I really like Farscape because it was one of the few sci-fis that went the whole space opera route. But it actually had genuine aliens. It wasn't sort of, oh, they're all a bunch of variations on humanoid. It's like, no, there were some seriously weird critters in it. It actually, and all these different regions of space, and much kind of like a precursor to Firefly. It's like, yeah, they're on a prison ship and it's a living being. It was a really original show, I thought, and it still holds up today. Krayven, guess what? Because I went for 2 years of extra high school, I have a chance to go to better colleges out of the country. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be coming to you. Wow, that's cool. Yes, and Zan, she's a Delvian. She was a living plant. And yeah, the actress Vanilla. Where's the thing I actually got? I got a signed doodad, and there was a guy who did sci-fi cartoons and made a stand-up show about them. He's a cartoonist and a stand-up comedian. But I got my signed thing, and it says to dearest Howie, because that's my real name. Lovely to chat to you at Wantage. And best of luck with your awesome Twitch channel, Krayven. Bless you, Virginia. Hey, which is that? Do you have a room spare? I don't live in London anymore. Effects. Like I say, I moved out. I moved out of London 2.5 months ago. There's tons of rooms. Best thing to do there, mate, is go on spareroom.com. Spareroom.com is the way forward with that one. So yeah, that was going on. I bought myself a few little bits and pieces. I almost, as cut it. Fair enough. I saw, and I almost spent. Yeah, probably not the ideal thing to copy paste in there, but no worries. Don't worry. The order mod I got you there. It's all right. Yeah, what. I came across, I was gutted to see this, a Lego pirate ship, the original Lego pirate ship from 1992, 93. I would have been 7 or 8 years old at the time that thing came out. And how will humans go as a species go extinct? I don't know if we will go extinct. If we do, it'll be probably due to some cataclysm. I don't think something like climate change or any of that will wipe us out necessarily, because we're actually quite good at coming together in a crisis. Unfortunately, it usually takes a massive crisis to happen. But if we truly go extinct, it'll probably be some enormous like asteroid thingy, because despite all the movies like Deep Impact or whatever, or Armageddon, we have absolutely no ability to destroy an asteroid that's coming straight for us. No, we won't. Short of everything going to hell, but there's more safeguards in place regarding even nuclear weaponry and things like that. We're not. Yeah, in fact, actually, see you dying. The only other thing would be something like Yellowstone. People forget there are super volcanoes. You think Vesuvius or Krakatoa was a big deal. well. Yellowstone National Park is the caldera. The entire national park is the caldera of what's called a supervolcano. Whether it will go off before we become a multi-planet species is to be determined, because geological timescales, we're dust. We're dust on the wind compared to the timescales that the planet's tectonic plates shift under. But if that decided to just go boom within like a year or two, that would do in most of the United States, and the knock-on effects from that would be pretty colossal. Yeah, something like a supervolcano is probably much more likely than an asteroid as well. So yeah, I would say one of the mega disasters, a mega disaster of some description, rather than we can make life a lot tougher for ourselves for sure, but
locally.
But thank you so much for the follow. Residency to Cravenstown is granted. Lodgings are being prepared. Please ignore the screams. But yeah, I mean, it's very easy. It's to be honest, it's rather fashionable, really, to be cynical about us destroying ourselves. But no, we won't. We won't. Or eventually, if it starts to get to a point, enough people will like throw decorum out the window and go, yeah, enough of this bullshit. We're stopping any more self-inflicted injury, kind of thing. But there's me. Perhaps I'm a massively naive optimist, but that's what I reckon will go ahead. But yeah, this Lego set, I remember when it came out and I had to do something at school, like do well at school enough to earn it, and I didn't do it. I was doing a bunch of other stuff, but I never got it. As a gift, as a reward thing, and I saw it on the table and I was like, oh, I'm a grown-up now, I could buy it for myself. And it's like, how much is it? And it's like, it's never been opened. I'm like, oh shit, right, how much is it? 125 quid. I was like, I couldn't spare that kind of money for what was a vintage mint condition pirate ship that I'd wanted since I was like 7 years old. But it was just too much. It was too much money, so I was a little bit gutted about that. So yeah, I think we'll get cracking now with a little bit of the actual Krayven Reads Reddit. So St. Jude, final tally, $240. Again, thank you everyone for that. We're going to go from next week, from the start of the week, for set time, start of 7 p.m, Greenwich Meridian time, British Summer Time, UK time, and I'll try and stick to that as best I can. Citizens giveaway is at 8 p.m. tomorrow, and Megacheer is live from the 4th of June, so please take advantage. And I had an awesome weekend at my local ComicCon. Before we start Krayven Reads Reddit, get your Taylor Swift on, folks. Mogwai is going to do the rest of the stream. Mogwai doesn't give a shit about your stuff. Darkens, thank you so much for the 777 biddies and our first Taylor Swift with her backup chorus of goats and Mogwai for the month. Thank you kindly. At least once a month. Actually, I always wanted that Lego Tech supercar. Oh my god, that supercar was the tits dying. That supercar was amazing. And Citizen Naomi coming in, chilling. How you doing, mate? How you doing? It's wonderful. All right, excellent timing. That is today's warm-up itinerary done. I'm having to go at this whole being an organised professional streamer kind of thing. So without further ado, if you haven't been here before for Sunday at the very least, we do Story Sunday. So I'm going to go through. We've had 3 submissions this week for Krayven Reads Reddit. By the way, it doesn't have to just be Reddit. It's things from the internet. If you think of particularly good stories or funny, but Reddit is a good starting place for stuff like ProRevenge, MaliciousCompliance, Tfue, and all those kinds of popular threads that come out with great stories, or No Sleep and things like that. And I will give them the Krayven lovely, warm, buttery, honey professional reading delivery that some of you think is moderately okay. So all 3 of our ones this week have come from Darkens, he of bit generosity already. Professional streamer, no idea, some British dickhead. So this first one is from ProRevenge. It was posted a day ago and it's got 13.6 thousand upvotes. In ProRevenge, that's a big deal. It's not the big. It's got about 737,000 members, so it's not one of the super huge ones. All right. So posted by user Might as well. 1 day ago, in ProRevenge, try to steal our $400 security deposit by being a dick. Fine. Now you can pay us $1,300. All right. So this story takes place like 5 years ago when my husband and I were broke college students with a young baby. We worked hard to afford our shitty little duplex, $600 a month, and necessities, while trying to finish our degrees to one day get ahead. Our duplex was one in an entire neighbourhood owned by a large company and managed by a super sketchy married couple who lived on the same street. Before our kid was born, we did the normal excited new parent thing of painting his nursery and decorating, blah blah blah. Our lease stated we needed permission to paint, which we obtained from the property manager, the husband of the couple. He insisted it would be fine, and being young and naive, we didn't get it in writing because he was so chill about it. First mistake. So we paint and move on with our own lives. A little while later, our lease was up, and we had given notice to vacate as we were moving closer to my husband's school. The property manager was understanding, everything was fine, and we scheduled our move-out inspection. Prior to this inspection, we specifically asked him for the name of the paint colour we needed to use when repainting the nursery. He flat out refused to give it, saying it was unnecessary to paint as we'd been there so long, they'd be painting the whole duplex anyway. Okay, cool. Let's see. Ooh. Gotta just get control of the old scroll there. Move-out inspection day comes and goes. We left the house in better shape than we found it, aside from a small area of torn carpet right along the seam in a doorway. The property manager inspected and said everything looked great and we should get our whole deposit, $400 back, minus a few bucks for the torn carpet. Sounds good, boss. Enter a period of weeks where we waited and waited for our deposit, eventually leaving messages upon messages with false promises or no return calls at all. Oh dear, I can see where this is going. Eventually, over a month later, this culminated in a phone call with the property manager where he said, and I remember this almost verbatim, I don't know what you're so worried about anyway. It's only like $200 you're getting back. He cited the painted nursery and the huge mess left behind as deductions. And I coldly informed him we'd be going to court because I didn't feel we owed for these reasons. The place was spotless when we left, aside from the 6-pack of beer we left him in the fridge for being chill. Okay, wow, that was really kind of him. Not... Oh, here we go. Not 1 hour later, he called back and miraculously, our refund check had just shown up in the mail. Already knowing he was trying to fuck us, we installed a recording app on my phone, it's thankfully in a one-party consent state, and went to the office. The check indeed was only for $200 of our deposit and included no list of what they charged us for. Important detail. We intentionally goaded him into admitting that he had told us not to paint and that the house looked great on move out, and we went on our happy way. Revenge plan already unfolding. We didn't cash the check and instead emailed the CEO of the entire property company, copying in the property manager and detailing the entire process. The CEO sent back a smart-ass email with a cute little typed-up list of deductions, including all the things we were specifically told we would be on the hook for. A fun detail was that even by his own math, they owed us $230 of our deposit. No one really had an answer for why they then tried to issue a check for $200, but whatever. Joke was on him because we began digging through all the state regulations on security deposits and refunds, hoping to prove that our length of stay meant he couldn't charge us for wear and tear, things like carpet cleaning, etc. And in our search, we instead happened upon a statute requiring landlords to return security deposit refunds and an itemized list of deductions within 30 days, or lose the right to withhold for actual damages and be subject to treble damages if the landlord is thought to be maliciously withholding the refund. Oh, delightful. So, We typed up a demand letter for our entire security deposit, citing the statute which he had broken because we didn't receive any refund offer or itemized list until 6 weekends later. When he sent a smart-ass reply, we filed in small claims court for our entire deposit plus treble damages and court costs. Now, I don't know if it's clear at this point, but I can be real fucking petty if I feel like someone is trying to fuck with me. This is the poster. I don't think this is petty. I think this is amazing. And it was clear that this guy made a career out of stealing money from low-income renters who likely could never afford to fight it. I was pissed. I spent the next month before our court date compiling all email correspondence in which he'd fucked himself over numerous times by providing written documentation that he exceeded time limits, charged incorrect amounts, etc. I also compiled phone records showing dozens upon dozens of unanswered and unreturned calls to the property manager and detailed accounts I'd made immediately after hanging up of lies from the property manager. I printed out a screenshot from the company's own website detailing the CEO's role as the legal advisor, so I could innocently claim, shouldn't he have known the statutes for these issues? I printed all the relevant statutes and highlighted the important parts, and then I made 3 fucking copies of everything and nicely compiled each in a binder complete with sleeve protectors and page numbers, one for our own reference, one for the arsehole property manager and or CEO who weren't sure who would show up, and one for the judge himself. We also took our handy little recording of the property manager admitting to all the shit he lied about and then pretended to have never said. I know, right, effects? Needless to say, the judge laughed at how prepared we were, asked if we were law students, and then awarded us treble damages and court fees as well as interest. I'll never forget the CEO's face when we looked over and smiled at him, all his arsehole emails and disregard for the law on the table, and rather than giving us the original $350 or so we were promised from our deposit, he ended up paying us over $1,300 a month later. It was glorious. Concur. Oh, and a little bit, oh shit, edit. I completely forgot until my husband and I were just laughing hysterically about this, but the CEO also filed his response to our suit with a counterclaim for $1,225 for expenses incurred as a result of the actions of plaintiff. He never really said how he got to that number, but in his last email before we sued, he did say, I hope we can avoid litigation in this manner, but we will engage aggressively if forced to do so. Lol. I wasn't sure if people would love this story as much as I do, but here we are. So I'm including my husband's final email to the CEO before court. Damn, he has a way with words. Oh, wow. All right, well, in the context of the story, she's apparently linked it, so let's see where this goes. Oh, it's on Imager. All right, so this is actually the email from the husband 5 years ago, Mr. Redacted. This afternoon, I'll be filing a case in small claims court against the corporation you represent. Redacted. Oh, I thought it was going to be rather comedic and funny. It's not. It's just very official. Okay, well, that was the first one from Darkins. That is some severe. That is some legitimate pro-revenge. That is everything done correctly, solidly, and some unscrupulous small-time bastards trying to rip off poor low-income renters for once getting their just desserts and deserved comeuppance. Well done to you, Reddit user. Might as well. Excellent pro-revenge, and GG to them indeed, and thank you so much, Darkins, the first of what I imagine are 3 quite good stories. Okay, so in MaliciousCompliance, this next one comes from, posted less than a day ago, 23 hours ago. It's already got 646 upvotes. Tell me to wait it out when I'm in respiratory distress? Well then, let's wait. Oh goodness, that actually sounds really quite, disconcerting. 2 seconds. Yeah, tell me to wait out when I'm in respiratory distress. Well then, let's wait. Okay, so I have... stupid scroll down thing. Okay, it's another little longer one. Okay, so I have severe asthma. Not just a little cough and wheeze, but but end up in ICU, that's intensive care unit, those of you not aware. I have gone into respiratory failure and nearly died before. Fun times. I'm still a teenager, but I was diagnosed when I was 2 and have been managing it pretty much independently since I was 10. Basically, I'm not an idiot regarding my own health. My asthma is pretty random. I do have known triggers, but it can become life-threatening in a matter of hours. I have a weak immune system and become sick very frequently. That's unfortunate. Unfortunately, any kind of illness kicks my asthma into overdrive. Within 1 or 2 days of getting any kind of sickness, my asthma will get bad and I frequently get lung infections. I've had bronchitis so many times I can't count and have had pneumonia 3 separate times. I carry my rescue inhaler around everywhere all the time. Oh no. The universe and genetics dealt this poor person a bit of a bad hand. Now, I also go to boarding school. My home is across the country, meaning I am nowhere near relatives or parents. There are 2 school nurses. Both of them at this time were beyond incompetent. Oh dear. Seriously, they had no idea what they were doing. It's Wednesday morning. I got sick overnight and woke up unable to breathe. I took my rescue inhaler and had a coughing fit. I get to the nurses while heavily wheezing and coughing. BRB gonna help my mum bake a cake. Fex. What a top chap. What a top chap. Baking, the science of cookery. Or just, science. Excellent. Good luck with it, man. Enjoy. Save me a slice. She listens to my lungs, not even in the correct way, and refuses to take my oxygen saturation level. She tells me that I don't have asthma. I ask her why she thinks that when I've been diagnosed for a long time. Also, why would I have an inhaler if I don't have asthma? She says that I have seasonal allergies. It's the middle of December. You don't have pollen in the fucking winter. Also, it's literally the first page of my file, if she even bothered to look. What the fuck? Okay. She has the audacity to tell me that I am dehydrated, and that is what is exacerbating my symptoms. She instructs me to drink more water. The irony is I have low blood volume and I have to drink a lot of water to keep it stable, like a lot. I try and drink 3 to 4 32-ounce bottles a day. I don't know fluid ounces. Someone in America want to translate that into litres for me? It sounds like a lot though. And also, how is hydration level linked to breathing? She sends me back to class. I go through the day sounding like Darth Vader. Wheezing, coughing, and taking my inhaler more than I should because I could not breathe. I make it through the night, waking up multiple times because I stopped being able to breathe. 1 litre. Oh wow, so he drinks 3 to 4 litres of water a day. That's going to be one of the most hydrated school kids in existence. Wow. Thank you, Ceodine. The problem is, because my asthma is so random, I had no high-level equipment to treat my asthma. I only had an inhaler, which is a lot weaker of a treatment than a nebulizer. I had acute and regular strength nebs at home and all the monitoring tools like a peak flow meter and a pulse oximeter. And I wasn't on maintenance inhaler because I hadn't had a severe attack in over a year. All of this and all of that high-end stuff is across the country with no way to access it. The next morning I see the nurse again. I still can't breathe. I tell her that I've been following an inhaler schedule religiously, but it isn't helping. She tells me that I'm being overdramatic and that I just needed to wait it out. Overdramatic my ass. I leave her office, decide to wait it out, as she suggested. The nurse doesn't want to treat my asthma, so I can't seek appropriate care due to going to a boarding school. There's nobody else who can help me besides the nurses unless I go to hospital. I live on campus and I can't drive myself, so the only option would be calling 911. I can't really do that because I'd get in trouble. So I wait. That Friday, my mum came to school. She was visiting for a different reason than asthma, but as soon as she came, she took me and we went directly to the ER without even informing anyone. I couldn't even talk and wheezed with every breath. I was immediately given 3 rounds of emergency medicine until my levels stabilised. Turns out, along with having a major asthma attack and exacerbation, I also had bronchitis. I've had lung infections before and they are a pain in the ass and can turn to pneumonia. The doctor said we needed to get a nebulizer that day so I could treat myself as needed without having to go to the ER. She was concerned that my lungs would shut down again if I didn't have one. My mum and I rush all over town filling necessary prescriptions and getting a nebulizer just before closing hours. My mum was only there for another day before she left again. When my mum heard the whole story about how I was ignored and told to wait it out, she kind of lost her shit. Hell hath no fury like my mother, a relatively unimposing, quiet, blonde woman. She doesn't fuck around with my lungs after the time it was ignored when I was 8 and I ended up in the PICU, the PQ. Now, back to these fucking nurses. They gave me my fucking antibiotics wrong and forgot to put them in the med bin for my whole weekend. You have to follow these directions for antibiotics closely so that the infection is fully gone. It took me like 2 weeks to fully kick bronchitis because I didn't get my antibiotics half the time. The nurses also told me to run a nebulizer treatment more frequently than I should because they wanted me to get better faster. Oh, good lord. These women sound like government agents trying to kill kids. Albuterol is a stimulant, and so the more you take it, the more shaky you get. After running one, I have full body tremors. I can't run one more than prescribed unless it's an emergency. I later complained to the dean of students about their erratic behaviour as well. I didn't blow it off and made sure that actions were taken. The nurses did other incredibly stupid things, like forgetting to fill a prescription for a student's seizure disorder for 4 days, giving out the wrong medications. They gave this asthma sufferer, poster person, Adderall by accident, which is a highly controlled substance, and if I'd taken it, could have landed me in ER with my heart condition. Not calling an ambulance, and like stuff like not calling an ambulance when a girl had a stroke. Wow. And in bold at the very end, both the nurses were fired for endangering students and basically having no idea of what they were doing. And TLDR, tell a student to wait out when they're in respiratory distress. Guess what? You're fired. Yeah. They sound like the kind of nurses who try and tell people not to vaccinate. Well, yes, they have been fired. And the first comment underneath that, it said, I hope they're never in that profession again. And yeah, exactly, C9, nailed it. All right, third and final story of today before we move on to Pillars 2. Wow. All right, this is also a malicious compliance. Posted 1 day ago. 23,000 likes. Upvotes, not likes. This isn't Facebook. Okay, so this is another decent length one. I do like we're getting these longer ones in. This one I reckon is going to be pretty solid. Then again, it reminds me of the general level of MDs in my area. Oh dear. That sucks, C9. I have to admit, we're in an NHS, our GPs are pretty good. More people complain about the NHS because they expect everything to be magically fixed for them, as opposed to just listening to what a GP says and dealing with stuff normally. But I will sing the praises of the UK's health system forever because it is the best in the world. All but one tried to kill you. Jesus, C9, what happened? Man, that is... Well, you don't have to tell me if it's private and personal, but that sounds a bit severe. All right, so some backstory. Again, the title is CEO didn't understand what my department did, apparently. So, some backstory. I was the general troubleshooter for my company. Stupid scroll. My job involved a lot of travelling to different clients we support. My area of work is Ontario, Canada, where I am based out of, and some of the nearby states in the United States, so New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, Pennsylvania. I did most of my travelling by car since my schedule can change quite quickly and flying can become very expensive. I had one colleague who is technically my subordinate, but we have a very good working relationship and would often handle calls independently of each other, only checking in by phone once a week and in person once a month / when necessary. A little over a year ago, I get an email calling me to the head office in New York City for a meeting with the CEO and the board of directors regarding my job. I checked with my colleague and he got the same email. So we make our travel plans and meet in New York City the following week. We have dinner together the night before our meeting and can't figure out between us what the issue is about. It's rare to get summoned to head office and more rare for things to be so vague. When we go to the meeting the next day, we are informed that the company is dividing our departments between the US and Canada, and that there would be a new person to deal with the US clients, and we were to restrict ourselves to Canada. Both my colleague and I were a little shocked at this, since neither of us had even heard this was being discussed. I asked who the new person in the US was, and we then learned that it was a new hire that the CEO had taken a special interest in. Interesting. Trying to be of good spirit, I offered to train a new person. There are many realities of the job that are not in the job description. This is typical of a lot of technical jobs. The CEO accepted and then brought in the new hire. in walks a young lady who looks about 23 years old and wears an expression that she knows everything. Oh, young, obnoxious, and smug. Great. She sits at the table and immediately makes it clear that she wants nothing to do with us. Okay, and from here on out, it's phrased kind of like a script. I was thinking of posted that one, but I'd already posted 2 stories. No work, Darkins. Honestly, post as many as you like. I will read as many as I really can. So it's all good. But the only ones we've got today are from you. So do feel free in future. Don't worry. But I appreciate the consideration. It's very thoughtful of you. So we're gonna, in this room, the CEO is going to refer to as Bob. The new hire is going to be referred to as Karen. Why are all like obnoxious young people called Karen? Women like anti-vax parents. A group of anti-vax parents is known as a murder of Karens. And the colleague, so the colleague of the poster who travelled down with him to New York City is called Jim. So CEO Bob, new hire Karen, my colleague Jim. Bob, welcome Karen. We have just informed OP and Jim about the change in structure, and they are willing to give you the support you need to get yourself started. Karen and Bob both look at me, look at the OP. OP, glad to have you on board, Karen. I think both Jim and I have a lot of experience to share with you, and we are happy to do so. Perhaps it would be better in a separate meeting so we don't take up the board's time. Karen, thank you all. I have a lot of ideas about how I can streamline our department and new policies I can introduce that should save the company a lot of money in expenses. OP says, I'm very I'm very confused at this point. Karen is speaking as though she is my supervisor, and that is distinctly not what Bob spoke to us about. I can see some of the board members giving a strange look at this as well. OP, Bob, perhaps I misunderstood the new roles here. Would you please clarify? Bob, sure. Karen is the new head of your department, and both you and Jim will answer directly to her. Ooh, my... There we go. Let me just catch up to where I was. Yeah, Bob, perhaps I misunderstood the new roles here. Would you please clarify? Bob, sure. Karen is the... but both you and Jim will answer directly to her. Board member. A different board member. That isn't what we discussed or approved as a board. We weren't fully convinced of dividing the department, but this is completely against what we discussed. Karen, what did you discuss then? Board member, that your department would be divided between the US and Canada. OP and Jim would remain north of the border, and you would run the US. Okay. Karen, well, that's not what I was told, but I can work with that as long as these two stay out of my way. What a bitch, indicating Jim and I. Jim and I are both shocked and insulted to be spoken of in this manner. We're both very good at our jobs, and before today we've never seen this woman in our lives. Oh, sorry, Duncan posted this one. 1,000 pardons. Let me just double check again. Sorry, let me just check again. Oh, it's because you're both citizens, your names are in gold. They're roughly similar length, and they've begun with D. I sort of sped read because this one arrived about 20 minutes before the stream started. Sorry, so this last one here is from Duncan of Florence. I bet. Sorry. Bet it's an NBA. We'll find out, Cedo. We'll find out. And let me see where I was. Sorry, I'm losing my thread a little bit there. Jim and I are both shocked and insulted. We've never to be spoken of in this manner. We're both very good at our jobs, and before today, we've never seen this woman in our lives. Bob, that settles it. OP, effective immediately. You and Jim are to have nothing to do with Karen. Do not interfere with her work at all. You are both to restrict yourselves to working within Canada only. With that, he ended the meeting and left the room with Karen close behind him. Jim and I sat there stunned for a moment, and some of the board members came up to us to express their shock and sympathies about this. I had enough presence of mind to ask if we could get a written directive of this change, and was assured we would. Sure enough, both Jim and I got emails with the new directive from Bob by the end of the day. So after sending an email to all our US-based clients advising them of the change and giving them the contact information of Karen, Jim and I made our way back to Toronto and reorganised ourselves for working within Ontario only. This meant much less travelling for us, so it gave us more room to breathe. Within a week, I was getting complaints from our US-based clients that Karen was not answering emails and missing appointments. I forwarded these emails to Karen and copied the entire board, including Bob. Another week later, I get a phone call from Karen who sounds frantic but would not admit she needs help. She makes pleasant conversation and then asks how I would handle a particular type of situation. I tell her I'm not really interested in discussing work as that might be seen as interfering in her work. Very nice. Later that evening, I get a call from Jim telling me he had had the same conversation with Karen and handled it the same way. By the end of that month, I get a call from Bob asking if I will take over the entire department again. I politely tell him no, since I didn't want to interfere with Karen or her role. For the next 3 months, I'm getting emails and phone calls from US clients asking if they're going to have me back as their contact. This confirms an idea that had been in my head. Damn it. Jim and I had actually grown our client base in Ontario since restricting ourselves here. So I had lunch with Jim one day and asked him if he wanted to go into business with me as partners, starting our own consulting firm. We couldn't provide everything our current company provided, but we could provide a high degree of professionalism for our specific field, and it seemed we had a ready-made client base. By the end of the lunch, he was on board, and we started the necessary steps to get ourselves set up. Oh, beautiful. As soon as we were clear, we both submitted our resignations with explanations of why. The next time clients contacted us, we told them we no longer worked for the company. When they asked if we still worked in the field, we told them we had established our own firm and what services we offered. A month later, we had 60% of our US clients on board, and since the former company had no Canadian support at all, we had 80% of the Canadian clients. Within 2 months, we had 80% of the US and 90% of the Canadian clients. In the years since that time, our new company has grown enough that we have hired 7 new consultants. Jim and I find ourselves doing more office work than road work and a lot of client courting. Our old company has had to stop offering the in-person troubleshooting, which is what their old department did, and Bob was fired by the board. No idea what happened to Karen. Oh, and there's some updates. Because of interest expressed in the comments, I made a phone call to one of the board members I remained on friendly terms with. Here are some answers to some questions. How did Karen get the job? Apparently Bob had set up a business school scholarship out of his own money, which had put something like 6 or 7 students through business school. Karen was the latest graduate and Bob wanted to give her a start in the business world. It's actually quite nice, but unfortunately didn't pan out. Was Bob sleeping with Karen? No clear answer was given, but Bob's wife divorced him shortly after he was fired from the company. Make of that what you will. What happened to Karen? Apparently she got a job as middle management in a financial services company. Hopefully she can still build a life for herself and had learned some important lessons. What happened to Bob? Last I heard he was regional director for a large hotel chain. Hopefully he also lands on his feet. Everyone deserves a chance to make a life for themselves. Some question why the board were there for this meeting. I honestly don't know, and neither did the board member I spoke with. I was one of their regularly scheduled meetings. It was one of their regularly scheduled meetings, and Bob added things to the agenda. Some question my use of non-compete, saying it's not nice. It's a normal reality in the business world. The oddity is that my old company did not have one. Well, that's amazing. The old company did not have a non-compete clause. The non-compete I have my employees sign is not overly burdensome. It protects our intellectual property and professional contacts. It does not in any way restrict the employee's ability to work in the field. That said, Jim and I have both agreed if an employee leaves us on good terms and reasonably asked to be released from the non-compete, we would oblige. People have inquired, some people have inquired if we're still hiring. Unfortunately, we are not. We're taking a pause from expansion right now as Jim's wife is dealing with cancer. Oh dear, I don't want Jim to worry about the office while taking care of his wife, so I decided to maintain our size, which I can do with minimal input from Jim until his wife is in remission. He has a chance to rest and return his attention more fully to our company. Jim and I treat each other like family, so this is a natural step for us. Well, that's not only excellent when faced with rudeness and incompetence, but overall, no particularly unhappy or vicious endings for anyone there. Damn it, I can't, but no worries. Yeah, I must get on top of the elections. We're going to expand our councillor roster. But yeah, won't even dwell on that. It's in the last couple of months we've actually had more trolls and silliness generally than we've had in what's going on there? That we've had in about a year prior to that. So I consider that quite the step forward. We're getting a little bit of, we're worth getting negative attention. Okay, folks, there ends part 1, but don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We're about to start Pillars of Eternity 2. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of Krayven Reads Reddit. Thank you very much to Darkens for the first 2 stories, the ProRevenge and the first Malicious Compliance. And to Duncan of Florence, Citizen Duncan of Florence, for that second one, which was actually an all-round, overall, decently happy ending.